Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another stream here. Thank you guys for tuning in. It is currently Monday morning into the new month of November. And let's see if we can start this month off good. Let's try to do that. So nonetheless, we got a couple things to take a look at today. The market is extremely bullish going into the open for now. Doesn't mean that it's going to last, but for now we are extremely bullish going into the open, okay? So hopefully everybody had a good weekend, ready for a good trading week. We'll wait a couple minutes here, see if we get some more people in. Good morning, Ken, and a few others. JD, Ken, Donovan, Daily Bonus, Jose, and Miami King. Que pasa? Good morning. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's start it up. All right, so first we'll talk about Apple. If you're not familiar, Apple had, let me take some of these trades off. We don't need those on from Friday. Okay, so Apple had obviously a great move Friday. We traded, made money on it Friday. That was good. Gapped up this morning with the market still trending higher. So nonetheless, I would say to follow Apple for a continuation play long bias today. Don't think it's going to have anything as anywhere as big of a move as it did Friday. It could, not as likely, but nonetheless, keep an eye on Apple long bias today for continuation off of Friday's move, but don't think that the move here today is going to be anywhere as big as a move that happened Friday. Pretty straightforward there, pretty simple. It's simply a continuation play, and we do think it should have it based on the way the market's moving. Let me pull up the market real fast just because why not? So this is the market. Yesterday or Friday had a great day. Today we're gapping up, and then we had this nice curl and push here on the market, causing a lot of stocks to get a little bit more bullish this morning after that curl and move. Pretty straightforward, nothing more there. Now let's take a look at, Baba. Baba is going to be probably my main watch today. I'm already currently long on it pre-market today from 179.78, only 75 shares. It started really small in it this morning pre-market, up about $50 on it, so nothing too major, but good way to so far start the morning, getting a little bit of green out of the belt. We can talk about this a little bit. You know, if you look at all the earnings over the past couple days or past couple weeks, the big ones, especially like AMD, Apple, Netflix, I know there's a couple other ones in there. Either way, they're all getting kind of hit down in their earnings, and they're picking up a couple days later and actually having really bullish moves, and the market's breaking into all-time highs. So pretty much what it looks like is we're getting some shakeouts on the earnings, and then they're running after the report, usually a couple days after, the following day after. So nonetheless, if you look at Baba, we see it pushed on earnings, came back down, came back up, came back down. So it's kind of jumping around, just pretty much consolidated yesterday. And, you know, in our private group, I was saying this to our members, you know, if you look at it over the course of a 4-hour chart, if you were to just kind of take away the actual earnings day and then look at it as if the earnings day was never there, you would see kind of a bullish pennant breakout formation. So I do believe that Baba could be getting close to breaking out today or breaking out today and kind of pushing up towards the 182 mark. And maybe even higher than that, up towards 184 to 185 over the course of the next couple days or next week. So nonetheless, just long bias on Baba. You know, and if you look at it from here, you might see kind of a cup and handle, right? We had this pull down, hold, bounce back up. Then this is kind of like a handle and starting to break out. So long bias Baba today, and pretty much for the remainder of the week, I believe. We'll see. Could be wrong, obviously, but, you know. So I may even hold these 75 shares for today into tomorrow for the rest of the week. They did get their price targets upgraded to 235. Not that I listen to price target upgrades all that much, but it does have some upside potential. So anyways, we're long Baba this morning. All right. Let me touch on the last one here, which is Nvidia. Alrighty, so Nvidia, I'd be long bias on today too. Let me zoom out, zoom back in. So yeah, I mean, we kind of seen Nvidia top here at 208, comes down, pulls back, do sort of a double bottom formation here, bounces up. We're getting over the resistance. So that's a strong sign to be getting over the resistance. Typically, I wouldn't be long bias on the first attempt here at resistance, but since we've broken over, there is optimism that it could be a long on it today. So look to see if it can continue holding above probably 205, right in that 205 zone. If Nvidia can hold over the 205 levels today by market open and show strength around that level to the bull side, then I would say something to consider being long bias on for the day. If it can't hold there, then wait another couple days before looking at it long bias. But over the 205 is the level to keep on watch for it being long in the next couple days if it doesn't hold today. All right, and then the last thing that I would be watching today is like KPTI, which is just this random earnings play. Okay. So really quick there, ran through that pretty fast, but it's all good. I apologize for the little tongue clicking if I do that. It seems that I've gotten a couple of comments that I do a little bit of a tongue click very often, and it's loud. But I'm sorry, it just is what it is, okay? Is this the final bull run before the crash? I would say... I'm going to say yes, okay? I will say yes to myself. I truly believe this run that we're on, run that is to possibly come, run that may continue, is most likely going to be our last bull run. So, yeah. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, if you just look at and understand the way stocks move and the formations and the psychology in the market, it makes perfect sense what's happening right now. It doesn't really baffle me at all that we're going into all-time highs. With me have been being so bearish over the past like year and a half, 2 years, and not really so bearish, just really open-minded to the idea that it's time for us to go to a downward move. It really isn't surprising of what's going on. It actually makes perfect sense by both going down and going up currently. So to me, it makes perfect sense. Not surprising at all. And I like it because my 401k is up higher and I'm just making more money regardless of it, regardless of it coming down or not. I'm just making more money in my retirement account. So that's a good thing. But I know that it's not going to last, right? But yeah, I believe we're going into the market melt up phase where it's just the last little bit of air that we can push into the bubble, and then it's going to give way. All right. Ferrari race, is it a buy? I'm not crazy about Ferrari race. If you look at it, it's at all-time highs, first attempt at all-time highs. So unless it can hold over all-time highs today, I don't really see it as a buy in today. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next couple days it can be. But for me right now, it's not on my list. Shop Twitter at McDonald's. Ken, we're watching Twitter long, I think over like the 30-20 or 30-30, 30-40, something like that. But it could be today, could be tomorrow. But yeah, you should be keeping Twitter on watch for a swing trade over the next week, into the next week too. McDonald's fired their CEO because he's having a relationship with some woman there. Again, not really surprising. It's 2019, so that, again, doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't. I mean, it's affected the stock this morning, but it's going to be a short-term thing. It's not something to bet long-term on. It's going to be a short-term downward move, which already happened, and it's already getting bought up. But they're going to replace somebody that's probably going to be better than him or as equivalently as good as him. And the fact that he was having a relationship with some type of woman in the workforce just means that his mind wasn't totally there and in the work mode while he was at work, because he could have very well been thinking about the woman down the hall, thinking about what time she's going to the bathroom. Maybe you can sneak in a quickie. You never know, honestly. Think about what time she's going to lunch. Next thing they pop out to Starbucks. The 30-minute lunch breaks turn into an hour and a half. So, he probably his head wasn't on completely straight at work. So, again, the guy that they hire, the woman that they hire next is probably going to do a better job, given the fact that his mind will be completely there and thinking about work maybe while he's at work. Okay? Alrighty. Shopify, I'm not caught up on Shopify today. Alrighty. How about you a mouse pad? I mean, I have a mouse pad. Do I? Yeah, the mouse pad is over there on that one. I mean, I could very easily go and buy one, but I mean, this works well because I always write notes on it. So it's not the fact that I actually use it as a mouse pad. It's really just here for my notes, and then it just works good. I don't even need this to use the mouse. The desk that I have actually works very good. But I don't know, this is just right here, then it takes up less space if I go on top of it. So stop making jokes about my mouse pad. And actually, this mouse pad is better than your mouse pad because it has like 180 mouse pad pages that can be written on and then thrown out or reused. So in reality, this is a pretty damn good mouse pad, if I don't say so myself. Is Bitcoin a buy? Again, I mean, many of you guys have heard me say this before. Bitcoin in terms of price going up, yes, could very well be a buy. But Bitcoin in terms of price to solve the problem of currency in general is not the way to go. Well, Bitcoin isn't. So again, can Bitcoin price go up? Yes. But is Bitcoin the solution for electronic cryptocurrency? No, it's not. There's a different currency, or there's going to be a different currency that's better than Bitcoin. So in terms of price going up, possibly. Long term for me, I just don't see it because it doesn't make sense, right? And a good example of this would be this, okay? Here's a good example of Bitcoin and just the transformation of this new technology that we would see. Okay, before iPods were created, we had CDs and then we had iPods. Well, we had CDs and then we had kind of like the Walkman and then maybe like a janky MP3 player, and then there was the iPod, excuse me. All right, so when you think about it, it's like, ooh, we should invest in Walkman because they created Walkman. It was like this little CD thing, and you could walk with it without it skipping. That was a problem with the CD players. When you'd walk, it skipped the song because it was bouncing in your pocket. But the Walkman, you were able to listen to the song on the CD without it skipping, right? So you think, oh my gosh, this is great. This is the future, right? So let's invest in that. Short term, that was the answer. Long term, something is yet to be created that's better. So Bitcoin, first of, great idea. It's fantastic. Now somebody's going to build off of that idea and create something far better. So Bitcoin short term, yes. Long term doesn't make sense to me. All right. Excuse me. Is LCRs going to a gap fill it recently had? Minimally, I don't know if it's going to be recent or soon, but 90% of stocks always fill their gaps. Yes, also Under Armour. I didn't put that up there, but Under Armour is going to be on our watch list. You can either look at UA or you could look at UAA. It was an earnings report. There was also some news that they're doing some shady things with their accounting. So I think that there's been a probe opened up on them from the Department of Justice somewhere. Let's see. Where is it at? I read it this morning. Under Armour is subject to a federal accounting probe. So anyways, there you go. But I'm going to be watching it. I want to watch it short with the probe news and the problems with the accounting. So probably going to watch Under Armour short buys today. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm just going to keep it on kind of like a back burner side watch. AMD is really on the first attempt at the 52-week high. I'd never try and buy stocks when they're doing their first attempt move. So if I were you, I'd probably just hold off on AMD for today, maybe the next couple days, and just give it a second. I mean, it very well could break into new highs without resisting, but probability is always what you want to play off of, right? Something could happen, but if you trade something that could happen rather than trading what you know is most likely to happen, then you are going to fall victim to making losing trades based on the idea that something could happen. So what I mean by that is, with the way AMD is currently set up, more likely than not, in most situations, AMD would not break the all-time high. Okay? It wouldn't. It's possible that it does, but I'm not going to take the idea of possibility and let that affect the way that I would typically trade this setup. Why? Because if I let this one stock affect the way that I usually would trade this setup, I will be more prone to doing it again the next time I see something like this. And since this setup is more likely to fail, I will more likely than not make a bad losing trade because of this one time I decide to break that rule. Okay? ATVI, is that the one that's got a gap fill up? I think it is. Or was that EA? What the? Yeah, so EA or ATVI is so close to breaking up. I mean, it's just been hanging. It's just so close. Yeah, I mean, the day Friday was up, back down. That's just it. It's still resisting this 57 mark. Pretty much the long is over these tops of like 57.43, 57. With the right formation, getting over 57, it's a long, right? See, something like this, you can see it. You're like, well, Connor, look, I made it over 57. Why isn't it performing great like you said it should? Well, because this just isn't good formation into 57. I mean, it just pretty much spiked right into resistance. It didn't trend. It didn't create higher lows. It didn't sustain a 57 mark. There's a big move from 55.60 to 57, right? If we were starting at like 56.79 getting over 57, then yeah, that would be a better formation that would more likely be able to continue moving over 57. So it all depends on price action, the way things are forming at current key levels, and this just isn't there yet. So I would say keep it on watch, but still be on standby, not quite ready myself for a long play there. It's got to be over these 57s, 57, 52 marks. So, here's the thing. Whenever it comes to investing, timing the market is always extremely hard, right? Looking at the market now, obviously we know it's going to be a lower price. Like I can tell you right now, in the next 7 years, the market, okay, that would be kind of a big one. But like the next 5 years, 5-6 years, the market will most likely be lower than where it currently is now. Does that mean you should start waiting to invest? No, not particularly, because the longer you're invested, on average, the more money you're going to make. Granted, if you just invest all your money at the top of a market, then we go through an epic crash, then yeah, you're going to lose. You're not going to lose. Your just investments were going to be down significantly for a long time. And if you use all your money at the top of a market, then you may not have any money to invest at the bottom of a market when the buying opportunity is really good. Okay? So it's kind of a game you have to play with yourself. What do? Do you start investing to collect dividends? So like that's the thing is I'm always investing in at least something, right? I think right now, if you want to be investing, it's good to look at investing in things that will perform better in a recession or a bad time, which would be like gold, silvers. Utility stocks will perform usually better than the overall market just because they are more of like a defensive play. Not that they're going to perform extremely well, but usually they hold up or kind of hedge pretty good somewhat. You still may end up losing money, right? So playing utility stocks is more like a thing to do when you have a big portfolio and you're trying to stay invested, not pull out. And just kind of hedge. You might end up losing like 2% or something or some money. You might not even win, but wouldn't it be better to take a 2% loss than it would be to take wouldn't it be better to take a 10% loss in something and then be taking like a 40% loss, right? So like if you knew being here would cost you 40%, wouldn't you rather just move it over something that would cost you 10%? So that might not have been the best explanation, but that's something to kind of go off of. So for me, it's hard for me to say start just piling money into the market. I think that you'll see a market turn soon enough, and it will be a better buying opportunity. Should I hold AMD? Well, that's really up to you. If you look at AMD's, mean, if you look at AMD's like 30-year chart, you're going to see it's at resistance. I mean, this is another thing that lets me know that we're probably pretty close to being done in the market rally in general, right? Let's put AMD on like a 30-year chart or 25-year chart. Ready? Look at it like that. So when you look at it, though, the way we're forming now is definitely more bullish at this price point than what it arguably. I mean, that's not really the best thing to say there, but we still look good for upward movement here. So I think a hold isn't a bad idea, but just in general, I think we're getting to that topping point. I mean, we reached 48 here back in 2000. Then we reached just before the 08 crash or 07 crash, we reached, 41. Right now we're sitting at 35. So in terms of cyclical moves, cycles, it's done its cycle. I mean, it has so far. I mean, we started here, then we came down, then we went all the way back up, up. And we came down. We held for a long time down here. Now we're back up towards that high point. So in reality, we are getting to some very strong long-term price action resistance that we will most likely see AMD get sold into at least some bit, right? So I'd say, maybe a hold up to 40. You never know if it's going to make it there for sure because, I mean, this top here was 48.50. We made it here to 41, so you made it just 7 points shy of that top. So right now we're at, 34. The top here was 42. So in reality, we're 7 points shy of this top, just like we were the last time. So something to consider. Maybe Facebook. Oh, gosh. I hate when it does that. Let's see. Whoa, a lot of questions. All right, so I'm going to just kind of speed through a couple questions here. Thoughts on CEI? I'm not going to be trading CEI. I don't really like CEI. How Libra would work to change financial interest transaction around the world? I can't really go into that one right now. Ripple, I think, is better than Bitcoin in terms of what it's meant to do. If Bitcoin is meant for transacting, making transactions simpler and faster than Bitcoin, Ripple beats Bitcoin, yes. Any earnings call you're looking at this week? Pretty much anything that's a big name earnings call. I'm not really sure what the ones are off the top of my head. I took a quick peek at the earnings plays that are coming up today, but not for the future ones of this week. So I'm not really sure which companies are reporting this week, but I'll know obviously of the day. So anything big name, any companies that are big names, I'll be watching. I think Roku's going to continue rolling over today. It's very possible. I haven't really been keeping up with Roku too much, but yeah, we are kind of at the top of that bounce cycle, so we're starting to see kind of more selling pressure coming in, correct? AVEO, I will not be watching that one. Can we look at BYND for potential long swing? Maybe. Let's take a look. I'm not caught up on that one, so I'm kind of interested on BYND. Nope, I would not be looking at BYND for potential long swing for right now. I'd stay short bias on the stock. Do you have a game plan for a bear market? Yep, I've already been planning my game plan for a bear market for the past 2 years, and I'm pretty much already in position for it. So I'm pretty much set. Not fully, but I've already prepared a long time ago. I started buying silver and gold a long time ago. I started putting some money into some utility stocks. Started slowing down my investments, money that I would contribute, started slowing that down, started accumulating more cash. So I'm pretty much, as ready as I mean, maybe not, but I'm pretty much as ready as I can be right now for what I'm doing. Yeah. Thoughts on Uber for earnings report looks up release date. Thoughts on Uber's report? Just wait till the earnings is reported. Check out the implied move for the options if you want to trade it after hours. Don't gamble options before it unless you're really, really good and know exactly what you're doing. Other than that, just wait for the report to happen. Could you take a look at BLDR? Sure. Just by the name, it sounds a little sketch. Okay, maybe not. Sorry, apologize. Kind of sound like a random penny stock. And look at BLDR. So they had earnings on Friday, held pretty good. I would maybe follow it for continuation. It's not typically a stock that I would probably trade myself, but I would follow it for continuation. They had earnings on Friday. Earnings were strong move. I would probably follow for continuation long on that. pretty straightforward. It is a little high in its move, though. I mean, if you look at the daily chart, you can see in terms of like a cycle, right, it is high, right? If we took a trend line, just draw it straight through the middle, right? You have your middle trend, you have your lower trend, and you have your kind of your like upper trend. Ooh, like, right? So if you do like something like that, you're kind of on the high of the trend, right? So chances are you'll probably see a pullback down to the mid-range, maybe even just below, right? Playing Uber ER, thoughts? Not playing Uber ER, we'll just wait till the earnings report goes by. Yay, 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 yay. Okay. Connor, I'm offering you to work in my hedge fund. Average in when long term? Oh, well, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, averaging in. I mean, yeah, so that's another thing. I mean, you might, as for most people, dollar cost average. That's not a bad approach. You could definitely dollar cost average. That's more than acceptable. I'm going to speed through the rest of these questions. But is trading only on news a good strategy? I mean, it can be, but not necessarily. So, I mean, it's like a couple-party question. I don't specifically only trade on news now. PCG has earnings this morning. What are your thoughts on that? I showed up late. I haven't even looked at PCG. I didn't even know they reported earnings today. Huh. PCG did not report earnings this morning. Or did they? They did? That's really odd. I don't understand. Okay, I can't even do it right now. The market won't collapse until the Fed starts raising rates and the companies with heavy debt start. Yeah, you mean yeah, exactly. Well, not necessarily, but yeah, you're right. I mean, if the Fed starts to raise rates and all the yeah, exactly. I mean, companies have been borrowing money at crazy rates because there was 0% interest rates. Yeah, and you're right. So when they start raising rates, those companies are going to have to pay back their loans or pay back the debt, at far higher interest rates. That's going to be much higher to do. You're right. You have a point there. I agree. What are your thoughts on JNUG and JDST? I mean, as long as gold performs good, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm long-term bullish on gold. So if I'm long-term bullish on gold, then JNUG is probably going to perform better than JDST over the next couple of years or so like that. But then again, they're both leveraged ETFs, which means they do have a decaying factor. And so long-term, they generally are going to trend down regardless. So Ronald, how much do you invest? All right, I got to finish these questions. I'm feeling lucky. I don't know. All right, cool. That's all we have for today. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. Appreciate it. It's past my time here, so I'm going to head back over to our private group. You can always follow us there, join us there. Links are in the description below. There's also 20% off coupon there at all times, so feel free to join us if you like. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for another stream. Everybody, take care. Have a great day. I'll see you later.